Hello, everyone. My name is Gary Arndt, and welcome to another episode of Respecting the Beer. For this episode, we've cut all the dead wood. Everyone that was kind of holding us back. In the words of Janis Joplin, to paraphrase, it's just me and Bobby. That's it. The man who's forgotten more about brewing than I know, and I think that's literally true. That's probably very close to a literal truth. But
also, Bobby McCoy would have been a cool name. If I would have taken Allison's name last
yeah,
name,
it would have been close.
Yeah, it would have been close to that, but also that's about as badass of a Western name you could have had.
But what we lose in co-hosts, we gain in guests, because we have a really good one on this episode. We got Mr. Greg Washington from the Badger Beer Report, covering everything beer and brewing in the state of Wisconsin. Welcome, Greg. Finally good to get you on the show.
Thank you for having me on one of my favorite Wisconsin brewery podcasts.
Thanks for being here. So if you were to give the State of the Union address for Wisconsin beer, how would you summarize it? What is the state of beer and brewing in Wisconsin?
The state of beer and brewing, great question, by the way. The state of beer and brewing in Wisconsin is solid. We are mitigating our losses with wonderful replacements. We are moving into areas that we haven't been. We are losing some, yes, but we are generally in probably the same place we were last year. Maybe better. I don't know.
Well, what have been some of the losses? I mean, what have I know some microbrewers have closed.
Yeah, so the big ones this year were the scene as a whole was 1840. Was probably the biggest one. We lost them and their extension in West Bend, and then we had a loss in their family right after that. So that was really emotional for our beer scene for sure. We lost 2 Great Danes this year, y'all, and we lost 2 out of the 5 that we have. Or I'm sorry, 5 in America and 1 in Japan. And so those were the big ones. The longer that you're around and the more that you surround yourself with community, the harder the hit is on the community.
Yeah, I'll second that. On 1840, they were bringing it big. They've been bringing it big for a while. I know Kyle and his family have been going through some stuff, and the industry has felt that locally for sure. They raised the bar pretty high, and our heart goes out to them over there.
Why don't we get into your origin story? How did you get into beer and beer in Wisconsin?
I've been an at-home dad for 20 plus years. And during that time, I realized that once I am done doing my at-home dad and homeschooling, I would need a career. So I started about 10 years ago with my goofy brand name and goofy brand, Daddy Porter. And I just did that to hold myself accountable and to teach people, or to help teach people come along the craft beer world and come into the craft beer world like I was. So, I was trying beers and I was learning and all these things. I was reading newspaper columns from people named Wisconsin Beer Baron, Chris Drosner. And I was doing whatever I could to just, I was just loving beer not in a, I want to buzz beer, but more in a community, in a, the history and the different flavors and the different breweries that have their different aesthetics and atmosphere and community. So it was just all that brought me in about 10 or 15 years. And since then, I've just really found a love of Wisconsin beer and Wisconsin brewing. So about 5 years ago, I approached Chris Drosner, Beer Baron, about starting Badger Beer Hour. And one of our first guests actually was the man that is across the table from me virtually. Bobby was on our stream very early, and so that it started to build into that. And then last year, we decided to make Badger Beer Hour a bigger and badder, and now we do report, and now we're almost like a full service 24/7 brewery tracker. And I mean, we were even breaking news on Thanksgiving Eve about Quiet World and New London, Wisconsin. So we work pretty much around the hour, but we're just geeks, y'all, and we just love it. We're just fans, and this is a passion. We haven't monetized yet. We're working on that, but so we're not even getting paid. We're just doing this for the love of the game. So
So
cheers to that.
you want to drop some of that info on us? The Quiet World story. All I know is there's a barn in New London. That's about all I know.
Yeah, Quiet World. This is an interesting one. It seems like they've been working on this for, well, Bobby, like,
Oh
it
yeah,
takes what you got to think, what you're thinking 3 years ahead before the brewery even opens. So they're
yeah.
talking about opening New London in 2027, but it seems like they've been working on it for a couple years now. They bought a 17 barrel system, Bobby, so that's kind of big, right?
Wait.
um
20 heck. That's a 20
17.
heck system.
Yeah,
No,
so
I did that
yeah,
math in my head. So
17.
there, it's a British system. I mean, a German system.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they posted on their social media about, well, it was about this summer or this spring that they acquired a 17 barrel system. So that, and they're
Yeah.
going to have an event barn, and apparently the owner is he's in that space. He's a producer, so he produces events, and it looks like he produces music events. So I think we
Nice.
can deduce that they're going to have music events at the barn. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm joking in. I'm jumping in, and they're going to build a new tap room right next to it, and it just sounds really, I don't know, I get a farm to table vibe coming from them, Bobby, if that makes sense. It looks like he has some culinary background, so I don't know, this could be a really, they posted today, the 1st of December, y'all. They posted today that this big drone video the land, and they're just out there in the middle of nowhere, Bobby, so
Hmm.
it's going to be a quiet world out there.
That's exciting. The Fox Valley itself, we've talked about a lot of the breweries opening. We have Vault 202 open down the street, and I know Ope is opening their second location next year here. And I consider New London as part of the greater Fox Valley. So there's going to be a lot of energy in the community, the beer community here. I'm excited about it.
I mean, y'all already got great energy. So that's just another, Vault coming in as strong and hard as they did this year. It's like, wow.
Oh yeah,
And
Chris is bringing it. Yeah, Chris does collaborations with everybody across you name it. And I think Scott is the GM over there. They're bringing in some good stuff.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. They came out hard and strong.
What are some other new breweries that are opening up in the state?
Okay, so
New-ish or
open.
coming?
Yeah. So the one we're actually looking for to come in here soon at the end of the year is Boulder Junction. Up in Boulder Junction, they have been building their brewery for about 2 years now. And one of the things to look for there, I believe, is that, like, this is a high tech brewery. There's a lot of state of the art. There's a lot of recycling of water, and I believe that there's plans for solar, and they're just really, it seems like the build, they were trying to open early, and I'm sorry, they're trying to open late summer, and we're still here in December, and they're still trying to get going, and there's just been a lot of different setbacks. But it's also been it feels like, Bobby, it also feels like one of those builds that they just have high standards of what they want. So there's going to be a level of delays and things that need to be done in order to have it come out like they want it to. So Boulder Junction is a fun one. Fond du Lac Brewing right down the street from y'all came out strong. Fond du Lac Brewing right up the street from y'all, doing great things. They're young. Hoya Hop House not too far away from you, doing great things, and they're young. So yeah, there's a lot of really good things going on in Wisconsin.
So I think that we're all kind of dancing around the subject. The beer industry is having its challenges, a lot of closings, and I always say that it's a maturing industry because we have as many openings as we do closings. It's a competitive market, but that's good for the consumer, and I think it's good for beer. And it sounds like you're saying that Wisconsin is doing as well as anyone in the nation as far as keeping the quality up there, and the openings are battling those closings, maybe vetting out what the market wants at the end of the day.
Yeah, the economist for the Brewers Association said that basically he boiled it down to say that Wisconsin is there. Beer sales, Bobby, as you know, across the board are down, but
Yeah.
Wisconsin is not as down as the rest of the country. If that makes sense. So I think he was talking like 4% craft beer, something like that down. And Wisconsin's only like 2 or something like that. So there's a level of us, quote, doing better, but still having a point to where, there's a struggle. Bobby, I thought it was really interesting when I went to Door County and I was talking to 2 brewers that I'll remain nameless, but y'all can figure it out by going to Badger Beer Report social media. But they told me that they were doing very well, Bobby, as far as the summer was great for them, is what the words were, basically. And I was just like, wow, that's really interesting because the reports that we get here from mainland Wisconsin aren't so, happy. We hear a lot of, we're getting by, we're doing well, it's fine, those kind of comments. Whereas out in Door County this summer, things were well. So we're really regional that way. And I don't think people understand that aspect. And I'm learning that aspect right now, Bobby. I'm learning
I
it
would
right now.
expect Door County to do well in the summer. The winter is when I think they would be really slow.
Right,
Yeah,
but they're not.
They say when you sell beer to Door County, you don't do it in the summer. You gotta earn it as a salesperson. You got to go now, and you got to sell for the next 4 months so you can get your beer on tap there. Because you're right. There's not much happening in the winter, but summer it's
But
go time.
they made
out
it
there.
Yeah, but they made it seem like this summer was better than normal summers, if that makes sense. Like,
That's
so there's
awesome.
a level of it's
Yeah.
interesting because interesting because I know the one brewer up there is, I think the cheapest pint is $7. So there's a level that people go on vacation, y'all, and have that extra money, I feel. But at home, Bobby, I'm not sure that people feel they have that extra money now, if that makes sense.
And I think we're all painting with one big brush, right? We're all trying to broad stroke this whole thing. And I don't think that it's as simple as that. I think that the small breweries have found their niche, their regions and their market. I'm saying that as a little bit to coach myself and to boast myself and make myself feel optimistic, but I'm also being realistic. I think that the industry is not black and white anymore. It maybe never was, but there's just so much happening out there. Some of us are offering music. Some of us are going all in on food and all the in-betweens. People want experience. And I think if you nail that, you're going to be fine. We're a beverage industry and we need to offer more than beer at this point. I think that in summary is where we are. I think people are still spending money and they still want to come out. You can't you can't socialize on Amazon. You still have to spend money in a pub if you want to hang out with people. It's my whole philosophy right there.
Yeah, I think the ones that I feel we're finding are doing well are the breweries that are keeping it small. And that's the kind of model that I like to see personally when I see a brewery come out. Is not this, is that community. Hey, we're going to keep it tight and see where we can build from there. As opposed to trying to distribute, but whatever works. I mean, I'm afraid of the distribution lanes, Bobby, a little bit.
It's challenging.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have to bring it up
Absolutely.
because the timing in the interview is right. I have to ask you about Dan Carey. I have to ask you about New Glarus. I have to ask you about what you think about what's going on right now with their expansion and what your thoughts are on it.
Well, I want to shout out New Glarus real quick because this morning, Joel and I were talking about it last week, and they shouted us out on social media, which is always great for us. So thanks for that. But that being said, the clip that they shared that we were talking about, Joel, my co-host and one of my best friends professionally for sure with the Badger Beer Report, was basically saying that he feels, and he's been to 1,500 breweries, y'all, in America, so in 50 states, and he says that he thinks that this may propel New Glarus to be literally one of the better beer experiences because he thought it was already one of the better ones that he's been to, and 1,500 breweries, and they're putting in how much, Bobby? 30 million or something in there. So
55.
55. And yeah, so I just don't. I just see it being a real. That's them cementing their legacy here in Wisconsin, which I don't even know that they even need to do that. but I don't think they're doing it for that. I just think that the expansion is just going to be amazing for us, amazing for beer community, and it's just going to be great. I just can't wait. But we have to wait another to 2027 for this. I think they said.
Yeah, I think there'll be the construction will be done in 12 months, and then another 6 months to get the equipment installed and online. So summer of 2027. And
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
you're
the
right. I think
visitors.
it's going to be yeah, it's going to be super exciting, and it's something for Wisconsin to be proud of. I think New Glarus is going to do well as a community. I think that the company's going to do great. Anyway, I just want to hear your take on that. I think that I'm excited for where they are. I need to get Dan Carey on this damn podcast before he retires entirely. He's
Tell me about it.
he's elusive, but
Tell me about it. Tell me about
but
it.
what he's got going on, man, between him and Deb and their daughter Samantha, I forget, is it Sam? I forget her name, but she's the construction manager. She's
Wow.
building that entire facility. So there's a lot going on there. We'll cover that later. But anyway, I think that's going to help Wisconsin as a beer community that opens in the next couple of years and gives us something to look forward to till then.
Amen. Before we move on, we have to, or at least I feel I have to mention their wonderful podcast that they do.
I listen to it like every week.
Yeah, it's just a great. If y'all don't know about it, now y'all do. They get into the beers of New Glarus. They get into his history, the history of New Glarus brewing. I mean, it's just a wonderful thing. It's a lot like this one, y'all. It's a lot like this.
I think David drops this podcast within minutes of theirs. It always lands in my feed, like right next to it on Monday morning.
Nice.
It's pretty
nice.
awesome.
I mean, both are just great. Both of y'all are just both nailing this. And I just love to see it from our breweries. And we have Knuth Brewing does one, but
yeah.
I don't know. Dave is busy opening bookstores and all that different things
He's
going
busy.
on. So I think he's busy, but I know that's still going because we talked recently and with you and I think Moonridge just started one, y'all.
Okay.
A podcast. So they had the Half Fast Brewery on their podcast. So that's a new one. But
Great name.
shout out to all the brewers that take time to produce content for us on top of everything else y'all do. And it just gives us a nice insight to y'all's breweries. And I mean, y'all do history too. New Glarus goes into history a little bit. Just for content wise, I just love it. And I wouldn't know everything I know about McFleshman's if it wasn't for the podcast that we're on right now. So again, shout out to y'all for producing.
Takes the team.
Yeah,
these two guys,
y'all
Gary
doing great.
and David, sitting here. But also you got Allison and Joel and all these asshats that participate on the mic.
Professor Allison is the rock on this show. What are y'all talking about?
They're dead to us now.
You go to a lot of breweries in the state. You go to a new place. What are you going to order to get a feel for how good the brewery is and what it's like?
Great question. Pilsner?
That's why I'm here.
Pilsner? Kolsch?
Why a Pilsner?
I think Bobby could back up what I'm about to say. A Pilsner, I am told by many brewers, it's really hard to hide flaws in that one. And so I feel that the most complex beers are the ones that at least I need to have a flight of. And everybody's kind of doing them now. There's this low ABV push that's been going on for years now. But now it's, turned into, I think, an official lager push. So I really need to see.
We're finally in the year of the lager. It's finally happening. The year of the lager.
Right. Maybe a session IPA. I feel that those are a little bit more nuanced. And of course, probably a hazy. And then, like I said, I look for nitros. I look for cast irons. I look for Melco pours. I look for all those little special things too, if a brewery's able or wanting to do those. Because, Bobby, there's entrances to all that. So those are the ones I look for. And then, I don't know, there's always an oddball one, like a sour or something. If they're trying to do something crazy or silly, I like to say, or, they playing is what I like to say when you see like a beer with, some funky adjuncts or something. Those are always fun. Glitter. Yeah, I don't know if y'all see it. I've been enamored with the milk tubes this year.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I'll bl-
we
I'll
experienced
blame.
it firsthand.
Yes, you did. Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So those have been fun, but those aren't everywhere. And you got to have that special faucet for those. The special pull. I'm sorry, Bobby. I'm missing the terminology for that at the moment.
Oh, the lucre
Caps.
faucet.
Yeah. Oh, I got it right. Okay, it's a faucet, right?
Yeah.
Um.
Yep.
Yeah. There's an interest to that. You can't buy those. I don't know if you want to talk about it, Bobby, but you can only get those in Europe, right?
Only in the Czech Republic. There, as far as I know, there's not even a knockoff. Like everything made seemed like there's a
Well,
knockoff.
202 made one.
Who?
Down the street.
No. I mean, like the hardware. Everyone's buying that hardware from one manufacturer.
Yeah, they made their own.
What? 202 made
You
their
haven't
own?
seen it?
No.
Yeah, it's just like a stainless steel thing that they.
Okay.
I assume it is because it doesn't look like anything like the one you have.
Oh, right. Well, maybe there's
It
a
just
hack
looks
out
like
there.
a hose with a ball valve on it that they made
Oh my gosh.
themselves.
All right. So the technology's out there. People are they're
I might be
reverse
wrong.
engineering.
Look at that. I didn't. Yeah. Okay.
But when it comes down to it, the Czechs revere the poor like none other, and they put all of the performance on the person pouring the beer and the equipment and the glassware in a way that no one else in the world does. And so I work backwards from how the Czechs revere their beer. I mean, they live beer. We talk about how Germans do and the English do and the Belgians, and they certainly do, but by volume, no one drinks more than the Czechs, and they look for beers that are more drinkable and lower ABV, and that just look just so pristine when they're presented. They just revere beer in a way that even the Belgians have a hard time keeping up with, I think. This coming from someone who has yet to make that trip. I haven't been there, but it's on my list, and it's number one to make.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway,
Prague.
I feel like I made you pause there.
Prague. Yeah. No, so yeah, those are the initial things that I look for. When I jump in a brewery, I'm looking for small pours. Always, I'm looking for, because the smaller the pours, I can get more tasting in. I can taste kind of more, because again, I'm not sure when I'll be back at that brewery, depending on who it is. So it's really always nice to be able to have at least short pours. Not necessarily fight. Sometimes it's just 3 short pours or something, just a range to see what the brewer's trying to do and maybe get an idea about the philosophy of the brewer. But it's going to take more than that. Not take more than that, but the ambiance and the atmosphere of the place also plays a factor in all that.
Do you have a regular place you visit in Madison?
Yes. Yeah.
Like you'd walk in and everyone is like, Greg, like cheers or something.
Kind of. Giant Jones is kind of like that for me. Giant Jones is kind of like my third place. Yeah, I know everybody that works in there, and usually there's a friend or two in there that I like. So yeah, Giant Jones, I would say, is my third place, and I haven't been there in a while. Well, that means it's calling me. But I've been out of town this whole month. So Giant Jones, and my second favorite is Working Draft and Delta. Those would be my 3 that I'm always at. If I'm probably usually at one of them. But I mean, we have a lot of good ones here. We're kind of like Appleton. We're good here. We're really good.
Giant Jones keeps coming up in conversation lately. So eventually we're going to have to connect with those guys, gals, as it were, Erica and forget her partner's
Erica
name.
and Jessica and Mari.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to connect at some point and brew a big barley wine or a Belgian quad or something fun.
We were going to have them on the show.
Lagerfest. We're going to connect. They're going to be on the show. Yeah. We're going to do a collab.
Oh, is this breaking news?
No, I mean, they don't even know this is happening yet. But I am going to convince them that this is going to happen. My staff is pushing me hard to make this happen.
Yes,
they're
that's
big
amazing.
fans of Giant Jones.
That's great, and I'll be able to get I know I usually can get McFleshman's over at the Malt House down here, but being able to get McFleshman's at Giant Jones is gonna, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
There you go. Right? Yeah. It's gonna happen.
Let's
We'll get them here. We're gonna do a few recordings with them because they have so much to talk about.
Amen.
Apparently she's like a genius, like a savant when it comes to beer. So we're gonna
Yes.
sharpen our
I can't
pencils,
confirm.
and we're gonna just sit back
Wow.
and let her record.
Yeah, having y'all two in the same room is, man, that's some
It'll be like having Rain Man and his twin in the room.
I don't count matches. Like, come on.
Yes. As I love to say, Bobby is extra in all the great ways. And Jessica's that way too. Jessica has this extra, because they're all organic. On the record, they're doing okay. They're not, and they're doing okay in this, push to do lower ABV and lagers and all that.
Yeah.
And Johnny Jones is still hanging out with the ales for the most part and the bigger
Yep.
ones, and people are still enjoying that. And there's rare time I go to the brewery that it's just not, I always kind of struggle to get a seat, and people are just really friendly there. So that's great. But at the same time, I don't know. It seems like they're always busy and people are still drinking them high ABVs. So, I mean, good on them if that niche is working. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. Not traditional, though, in a lot of ways.
You're a porter guy. Who makes the best porter in the state? I'm going to put you on the spot.
Just off the top of my head, it's the Mud Puppy. It's the OG. My second favorite would be the Perky Porter at Stillmank. So yeah, it would have to be the Mud Puppy, and then the Perky Porter was one of my first coffee beer, my first coffee porter actually, if I remember. Not coffee beer, but coffee porter. Yeah, those are my
Which
top
breweries
three.
make those?
So Central is Mud Puppy, right?
Yep, Central Waters is Mud Puppy, and wonderful fact about that one is that Mud Puppy Porter is their still, Bobby, it's still their flagship, which I find fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what Anello said last year. So he said it's still our flagship, and I was like, and it kind of makes sense though, because they do so many other different wonderful beers at Central Waters. It kind of is interesting that the porter is the one that rises to the top, because I just think everything else is so great that like it's hard for something to rise up, if that makes sense.
I feel like it's the librarian, right? It's the one that's understated. It's everybody. It's a sleeper.
Yeah, and then the Perky Porter is Stillmank in Green Bay. Oh, I have a third one here. Is actually, I don't know if it's one of my favorites in the state, but it was one recently I really liked out of Fond du Lac. They had a vanilla porter. And y'all know Fond du Lac's been around for like 2 hours, it feels like.
2 hours,
so,
yeah.
Volt's been around 3 hours. Fond du Lac's been around 2 hours. That's how it feels like. But no, that one's really nice and crisp. And I've been, really impressed about how those two came out, Volt and Fond du Lac. They just came out really strong, especially beer wise. And that's great, because Bobby, how hard it is to come out strong beer wise early.
Oh yeah.
That's not an easy task.
We took our punches at the very beginning. We opened with 4 beers with like 16 taps, just to get the doors open, and there was a lot of disappointment that we had a lot of guest taps when we opened. That's the way it goes, though. If Joel were on the podcast, he would be asking some questions right about now. Right?
What kind of questions does Joel like to ask?
You met Joel,
I
right?
know, though.
Yeah. He would be asking something about 547, but also he'd be asking about the Mount Rushmore he would ask it a couple of ways. And the ways he would ask it would be either of beer or of brewers. So I would like to ask both of those questions to you, but I want to keep it within the boundaries of Wisconsin. Who are the best 4 beers in the state of Wisconsin? If you don't want to do that speech at the Grammys or whatever where you exclude, that's fine. Maybe just mention the best styles we do or something, cop out there, or just go for it. Who are your best beers in the state?
Wow.
You can't. Don't even feel bad about us, because I'm not even going to allow us to be in that mix, because it's not even fair. So pick 4 beers that are not us.
Okay, so overall best beer, right? Is that what we're saying? I have to say again, I really have to, or I can do. Yeah, okay. So, how about the best beer I had in the past year? How about that? So, this is good.
Perfect.
Number one, uh, he exempted himself, but I can't avoid that ESB from McFleshman's and Fuller's. I cannot, and the reason I can't is because it was seriously the best ESB. Listen, if y'all would just put that beer in front of me and not say who brewed it, I would be like, "This is the best ESB I've probably ever tasted in my life." And then y'all would say, "Oh, it's McFleshman's and Fuller's," and I would say, "Oh, that makes sense, right?" So we'll do that one. That one's just, it was just superb, Robbie. It was just great. Another one that was great was my favorite beer of last year was the Black Friday Black IPA from Lakefront Brewing. Was amazing, Bobby. I said on my Friday stream, if I could marry a beer, I would marry that one.
Nice.
It was malty, hoppy. It hit that balance. It was this lakefront, just being lakefront, if that makes sense. It was just excellent. And they've been hitting those Black Friday releases forever. So that's one. Man, it has to be you know what? Everything I taste out of Working Draft has just been great. It really has. It has to be one of their Czech pills or one of their
I was
Czech.
going there too when you said Working Draft.
Yeah, it has to be one of them. They have a Czech fest, Bobby, that they have 13 Lucre faucets.
Yeah, our beer is on. They always put us on in one of those handles.
Yes.
Who has 13
Yes.
liquor faucets?
Working Draft.
Working Draft in Madison, Wisconsin. Yes. So it has to be one of Clint's lagers. He just does really great things. And the
He made
fourth
it
one,
up to our beer fest last year or this year for the first time, I think.
yes, he did.
I
And
think he's gonna do it again. He's in.
yeah, and also I was talking to him and I was like, "Hey, I was talking about you and this the whole thing." And he's like, "Yeah, I never met Bobby." And I was like, "Wait, what?" So Bobby remembers. I was like, "Wait," and I didn't pull Clint, but I was like, "Let's go." And we walked over, found Bobby because Bobby is busy during Lagerfest. As y'all already know, he's doing the podcast. He's up and down. He's releasing Firkins. It's just
It's all
wild.
the thing.
And yeah. And I was like, "Bobby, hold on 1 second." And I was like, "Clint, this is Clint." And that's Bobby. And I was like, and I took a picture and I was like, "Wow, look at this. Two of my favorite lager brewers are sitting here and didn't know each other." So yeah, that was great that y'all
Finally.
were able to meet, and that was fun. Yeah, that was great. Lagerfest is great for that. Bobby, you could probably talk. In fact, you have talked on this podcast about it. Just the
A
camaraderie
brewer
and the
fest for
friendship and
brewers, man. A beer fest for brewers.
absolutely. So lastly, this is hard, but I'm gonna say so I went to Sway Brewing on my last
Oh yeah.
I went to Sway Brewing on my last trip here, and I don't know what Matt gave me. Matt opened up Sway for me, which was wonderful, and I was very privileged to have that opportunity. He opened up Sway for me, and he pulled something right from his fermenter. And that was my favorite. That's one of my favorite pictures of this year. It'll probably be one of my favorite pictures ever because I love Matt as a brewer. I love what Sway does, and just to have him give me something off the fermenter, we were just cheersing it. It was great. So
Now, when you say
what
fermenter, was it a barrel or was it stainless that he
it
pulled it out
was
of?
It was. I wish I had the picture. It
But did he
was.
pull a nail out of, of an oak
No. It
barrel?
wasn't a barrel. It wasn't a barrel.
Okay.
It was
Okay.
stainless.
Yeah.
It was stainless.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it was a folder. Because he does those
Fruiter. Oh
folder
yeah.
age.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I think
yeah.
it was a folder age that he moved from the folder to the
Yeah.
tank
Oh yeah.
and something. Yeah. I don't know. It was just amber. It was just excellent. I don't even. It doesn't even matter what the beer was, Bobby. It was just that experience. And it was that.
Everyone's
You know what I
taking
mean?
their clothes off for Sway right now.
Right.
They're sexy girl right now.
Right.
They're
Right.
collaborating with people from Florida to California. They got it going on.
They're just great. That was a good time. So yeah, those are my 4 favorites from last year. So yeah, we're good here in Wisconsin when it comes to variety.
All right, before we log off, Greg, where can people find you and the Badger Beer Report online?
Yeah, badgerbeerreport.com is our website. Most of our content will be found on Spotify or YouTube. And once you put in Badger Beer Report, those outlets should come up. We are also very active on Facebook and Instagram. And I just wanted to thank y'all for the welcome and the invite, and just keep trucking here. Y'all are doing a great thing for our community, being the content community, but also, of course, Bobby, for the craft beer community and scene in Wisconsin.
All right. Well, that'll conclude this episode of Respecting the Beer. The producer of Respecting the Beer is David Kelso. Without David, there would be no show. Please join the Facebook group to get updates and to support the show over on Patreon, where you can listen to the bits that don't make it onto the show and get access to specially brewed beers available only to Patreon members, and possibly even get invited to a party. Links to both of these are in the show notes. Until next time, please remember to respect the beer.